I just want to take a moment and recognize our next panel, which includes a couple state elected officials, 2 state senators who've been long champions for climate innovation and green workforce opportunities and many more issues, but really grateful for all they do, Senator Ben Allen and Senator María Durazo, for a conversation with Julia Pyper of the Political Climate Podcast, and she's also a leader in her own right with Good Leap. So please welcome our next panel.
Good conference.
Hello, everyone. I have such a distinct honor to be here with really such profoundly, influential California leaders. So thank you both for taking the time today. Matt mentioned your leadership on sustainability and environmentalism, which I think is really notable in the way you've both really positioned equity and workforce development. But you also have these other titles that folks may or may not know. Senator Ben Allen, you are chair of the Senate Special Committee on International Sporting Events. So this is timely, as well as Senator Durazo, vice chair of this committee. So I think you've only had one hearing or so you'll have to give us up to speed on what's happening there. But just ground us all in this moment as leaders of the state. There's a lot of stakeholders who have to come together. We're talking local level all the way up to international governments. What do you see as the state's unique role in this moment in leveraging the World Cup? We also had the Super Bowl, I think, in 2027, and then, of course, the Olympics. How are you guys thinking about leveraging these upcoming international sporting events to make the region more sustainable? And why is it even important we do this, I guess I should ask, right? We could just have a wonderful games and people would be entertained. And why is it important that sustainability remains central in your view? Senator Allen.
Well, I thank you, first of all, for hosting this wonderful discussion right here at one of our Olympic venues. Beautiful place. So I would say the state has there's several ways to answer your question. First of all, we're a backstop for potential financial overruns. And that's one of the reasons why we have this committee, because the state has a very serious financial risk and an opportunity associated with these games. And so part of the sustainability ethos is financial sustainability. By not spending all this money on behemoth projects and really focusing on the existing infrastructure, we not only do right by the environment, but we also ensure that we're going to be able to keep this operation within our means. I mean, you look at some of the mistakes made by previous Olympics with their infrastructure build-outs, and I mean, I think Montreal just finally came out of the debt from the 1976 games. Yeah. You look at we don't want to see that happen here. In fact, '84 is always considered the games that saved the games because LA was able to put on a well-run, but also economically responsible games that allowed the whole system to continue after the debacle of '76. So that's part of it. And then also we are so proud of our global leadership role on environmental issues, from climate, from waste management, waste reduction, in the discussion we were just talking about, to fuel efficiency. California has led the way. We are very serious about that global leadership role. And one of the many pitches of both the Olympics, but certainly the games, the 28 games, but both the World Cup and also certainly the 28 games, was the California environmental story. It's part of our ethos, it's part of our pitch, and we want to highlight and showcase our environmental leadership on a global level through these games. And so it's going to be integrated into every aspect of our work. It's a big priority of the state government, and it's one of the many things that we're working on very closely with the bid and the operation to ensure that ethos infuses into every aspect of the work.
I just have to make it happen now. No problem.
Yeah.
Senator Durazo, would love your thoughts on this opening question here too. Why is this such an important moment to put sustainability at the center of the games?
Well, I think that sustainability is certainly about the environment and having a cleaner environment and the climate issues. But there's other things connected to sustainability. We just heard about food. There's economic development that comes with sustainability. There's the future workforce that comes with sustainability. Who is that workforce? Are we training them in the way for the future, for these new jobs, these new set of skills that they need. And so we have an opportunity to connect sustainability with a lot of other issues, and we will do that because we work hard in the legislature and in other levels of government to do that. So we're gonna host millions of people. We're in a position to be the model. We're in a position to be the model where you can take these various pieces of our society and bring them together and be a model for the world to look at us and say, we can do this, especially in an urban environment as big as we are in Los Angeles. We can be the model. So I say, not only leave a legacy that makes us feel good, but leave a legacy that concretely has done more for our communities, done more for Los Angeles, done more for the state than just a feel good. Something very tangible things that we should be shooting for.
Yeah, I'm personally very excited about that. Matt mentioned in the opening, I host a podcast called Political Climate. It has a Democrat and Republican who come together not to debate climate science, but to talk about policies and what are we going to do to implement various solutions to meet our national needs, whether it's meeting AI demand or workforce development, but all centered on energy and climate. And when we prove that these solutions are just better, it eliminates any political debate. We just show that they're better, cheaper, faster, more affordable, and I feel like that is our opportunity.
Is it really that easy?
But it's all that easy, right?
Okay,
Senator Allen, I mean,
right.
I was gonna save this for later, but since I kind of went there, I mean, what are some of the headwinds that you do see then on realizing this vision? I mean, I'm sure there's many, but what's top of mind?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously very
The
complicated.
fun's over, guys. We're
Yeah,
just
I
getting
know.
into
Back
it.
to, yeah, down it. I mean, look, it is first of all, when we talk about sustainability, the scope of our ambition, but the realities on the ground are two different things. I mean, I was just meeting with some of the sponsors here actually who are working on trying to build a fully, make sure that all the transportation is going to be covered by electric school buses, helping staff get from site to site. And yet we're at a fraction of the charging infrastructure that we would need to make that the entire transportation infrastructure, at least the busing infrastructure, all done in an electric manner. So there are build-out needs that we have. Obviously, we've got a really complicated federal situation.
Ellipses.
Yeah, very complicated. Constant weird threats about pulling the games, moving things around. The federal government, of course, has so much power over visas and entrances and security and funding and so many elements of this involve the federal government, and it's such a strange kind of whipsaw over there, and so that continues to be a challenge. I mean, on the budget side, the state budget is not in a particularly great place, partly because of all of the madness from the federal government, the massive cuts to healthcare and education and various elements of our state budget. So these are all things that we're having to grapple with. We are also struggling with some of the challenges that LA has faced. Though I will say that these 2 summers of love and sport that we're going to have over the next few years are real opportunities for us to reset California's and Los Angeles' image around the world. I mean, LA needs to get right back to where it belongs, at the top of every tourist dream of a place to come and enjoy. We've seen a downturn in tourism to our state over the past few years, partly because of COVID, but also partly because of the federal government and people just not wanting to come to the United States. But this is our chance to show the world what a special place we are, that we present a different vision of what America can be. And I think we're really hoping this will be a major showcase that will get the world excited about coming to California and being a part of what makes California so magical.
Senator Durazo, would you want to add on to any of the challenges you're seeing? Are you going to bring us back to positives?
I think that, just hosting the Olympics is by itself a challenge. I mean, how millions of people come, here, what do you do about the issues that already exist, housing issues, there's a lot of issues that already exist. So, we already have issues. It's not because of the Olympics that we have issues, it's because we already have issues that we're always grappling with. We just had the worst wildfires ever known here. I mean, there's always these issues. So our challenge is, how do you make the most? How do you make the most out of the Olympics? How do you get the most out of the Olympics? How do you excite people for all the positive reasons, not just to make it look like palm trees and beaches and that's what's so great about LA. No, LA has to be what we leave and what we create as a result of the Olympics. It's got to be really significant and substantial, and we can do that because we have people like you all here thinking about it, putting forward ideas, coming up with a blueprint. I mean, we have what it takes to leave something really significant that everybody will feel good about it, from the housekeeper, to the engineer, somebody, who's gonna go, somebody who's not. Everybody should feel good because something will be left in a very significant way.
Be the place you wanna remind everyone that's the place you want to have a home, grow a business, maybe have a baby. I didn't just have a big breakfast here. But no, I love that idea of the legacy, is that it's really about also what we leave for everyone who's a resident here and wants to come here and stay here and invest. You did mention wildfires. I'm curious if there's a way that you're seeing rubber hit the road on how the Olympics could be used to catalyze resiliency solutions. Obviously, clean energy, let's decarbonize the Olympics, electric transportation. Is there a resilience angle here too? Is there something we can learn about keeping the lights on, making our homes?
As someone who's been through this.
Yes, I think Senator Allen's close to this.
Really difficult.
Yeah, a very difficult experience, and it's really taxed our system in so many ways. And we were just having a whole chat about the insurance market and our utilities and just the cost squeezes on regular people, working people, that have seen it more and more difficult to afford life here. And it's partly because of all of these stressors on our system that have led to cost increases. And so we were just having a whole sidebar conversation about this. So I think, I guess what I'm most excited about here is that there will be economic generation, certainly, which will help the region. We really are looking to make this a truly equitable games. And that, you asked about the hearing that we had. One of the many topics we got into is the workforce issues that María Elena was talking about, and making sure we help grow small businesses through this. So this is not just something that's kind of for the massive corporations to benefit from, but that it's really going to kind of filter down into every aspect of Los Angeles' economy. Really taking advantage of this opportunity to finalize all of these infrastructural projects that are going to have such a benefit for our region. Transit, really, using this deadline of the Olympic Games to just finish great rail and transit projects for working people to get around town, improving our infrastructure at UCLA and USC for our students. So you take advantage of the fact that the villages are going to be there to make sure that those are state-of-the-art, wonderful experiences for the next generation of students coming through. All of the sporting facilities on our high school campuses that are going to be hosting international, national teams from around the world, stepping those facilities up so that a next generation of young people all over the region will benefit from those better facilities. Creating cultural opportunities through the Cultural Olympiad that summer that will inspire, both showcase all of the talent and cultural richness of our region, while also inspiring young people to the possibilities and the opportunities of Los Angeles' global leadership. So all of that, I think, is going to be what helps to make this such a positive experience. But it is it's a we are coming out of a very difficult year, a really difficult year, and we're going to be feeling the impacts of that on so many levels for quite some time. And so the challenge is, how do we do right by the survivors? How do we, while also celebrating all that we have here and making sure that this ends up being a really good experience for them too. And I think we're gonna have to figure out a tasteful way to ensure that there's a tie-in. And I know some people are working on that right now, actually.
That's interesting. So yeah, it's this moment of celebration, but it's happening on this backdrop of a really challenging time. That's a really good point. Do you have any other specifics you'd highlight or projects that you hope get off the ground on the resilience side? Or really, you covered a lot there between cultural, student sports, cultural engagement, student sports, infrastructure, affordability, resilience. That is a lot to work on.
Yeah, and I will say to everybody here, first of all, thank you to Lacey and all the sponsors who stepped up. One of the things that the chair of LA28 always says, Casey Wasserman, people keep waiting for him to give them orders about cool things to do in town during the Olympics. He says, I am up to my ears just running a good games. We need all of us to step up and, in our respective areas of expertise and leadership, to step up and make this a showcase summer for our town and for the world. And so that's what's so important about what we're doing today. This is not actually being directed by LA28, and we're all connected to them in some respects or another, but this is being directed by all of us together who see what an opportunity, but a responsibility we all have to step up and take full advantage of this summer. One of the many things that we're going to be doing is this Cultural Olympiad. And yet that is going to be, a pretty organic process, I'm getting the sense. And so it's really going to take everybody stepping up and taking on leadership roles. I guess ask not what the Olympics will tell you to do, ask what you can do for the Olympics and actually do it. Don't even ask, just do it. And take this opportunity to showcase the great work you're all doing in your communities. Because this is going to be all hands on deck. They are up to their ears just trying to make this game successful.
That's what I wrote that down as you were saying your last response. What do you need? I was like, wow, that's a big to-do list. What can we do in this room? And it sounds like you got to take initiative. It can be hard to know where and how to plug in. So what I love about this event so far is you're calling out specific people to grab after the panel and have that conversation. Senator Durazo, we'd love to come back to you again. Affordability has been mentioned. This is one key part of a lot of your life's work. How are you thinking about affordability and keeping it central to the games, keeping it central to sustainability in California writ large? Because we can't lose sight of that, and it's part of the national dialogue now. We're seeing elections on other sides of the country being won or lost based on affordability messaging. How are you thinking about that in this current era?
Well, I think that we have to put this in the perspective of the Olympics as far as how we can use it to help our future. And the future for many people is there something for me? Is there something for me to open a business? Is there something for me to help my business? Is there something for me to get a different kind of career? I mean, we could expose through all of these issues that we've been talking about, we could expose people to a different career that they had not thought of before. We should have training programs with the unions on what those careers are. We could really think of things differently rather than there's a lot of people going to come into town and we have to sort of either leave or tolerate them while they're here. We should be thinking, we are, I think, lots, I hear all over the place, ideas for how this will happen, but we need to leave LA in a better place, in a much better place. And workforce development, training, there's enormous training opportunities. We have a new set of skills that are going to be needed for, sustainability, for a green economy, for these kinds of, for wildfires. I mean, how many more firefighters do we need? How many more people do we need with that expertise? Let's use this as the opportunity right now. And so I think that we'll see this as a future career. We'll see this as a future training opportunity, and look at it. The green economy is what we all want to, work towards.
One thing, in my day job at GoodLeap, we help people upgrade their homes more sustainably. We also operate what are called virtual power plants, and so we can take responses from the grid and use people's batteries in a way they don't even notice to provide services to the utilities when they need it. It's a hot summer day. How do we avoid those peak prices that cost everybody a lot of money? Well, we can borrow from hundreds, actually thousands of batteries. We operate across the state. We only entered the market a year ago, but we're now the 4th largest. And just this year, we'll save customers $200,000 on their bills who participate in that program. So that's a way that the grid benefited by avoiding strain during peak times. And then the individual customers got money back in their pocket for letting us behind the scenes, without them even noticing or changing any temperature in their home, a bit of their battery. And you've heard examples of other companies doing similar things today. And I think it'll be amazing to see those solutions come to the table, not only for the Olympics, but show how they work on an ongoing basis. But certainly during the Olympics, when electricity demand will spike, surely. So we hope that those solutions really, we can tell that story of how great the technology works. With that in mind, are there specific technologies, we've heard from a lot of providers today already, some startups to major established companies, utilities. Senator Allen, is there a certain technology solution you hope to see catalyzed? Have you heard of a cool pilot? Have you heard of a mainstream project? Is there something that you're excited about when it comes to solutions on the ground?
Well, transportation I think about all the time, and I really, one thing, this is perhaps a lower tech answer to what you were seeking, but I really am excited about this summer and the Olympic summer to have all these folks come from all over the world who love riding transit to sports. It is a huge part of the culture in Latin America, in Europe, in Asia. And just in general, it's public transportation in general it's here in this city, which is so sunny and so walkable and so bikeable, so flat, yet we're such a car culture. And I just hope that these two different summer experiences in a row, where the trains will be filled, we've done this massive metro build out, and the trains will be filled with sports fans from all, with face paint and drums and all the excitement. And it will get Angelenos to rethink their relationship with transit. I love the fact you go to New York or London or wherever else and you see a Wall Street banker sitting next to a student and a custodian and a gardener and tourists, and they're all together on the trains riding to work, going to wherever they're going. And yet, unfortunately, public transit in LA is so distressingly class-based. I mean, I hate to say, and if we could get, I really, people seem to ride transit out of necessity as opposed to as a really great option, that reduces traffic and is a good experience for everybody. I think the more that people from all different backgrounds get on the trains, the more they'll see what a good experience it is. And I'm just hoping that this will help to change some of the culture a little bit. We have invested so much money in this transit build out. It's the biggest by far construction project in the country in terms of mass transit over the last 10 years is right here in Los Angeles. And it's a real opportunity for us to change culture in town.
And hey, you don't have to drink and drive that way.
Totally.
You can have more fun.
We've been working on this for years. It's not like it just happened and happened only because of the Olympics, but we have been working on this for several years. I mean, the work that Matt does and everybody else does here, looking towards the future, looking for these, startups, these new ideas, but also the kinds of, the infrastructure. Just to give an idea, the kind of infrastructure that's needs to be upgraded. We're doing that. New things. We have to manufacture the charging stations. I mean, there's all this infrastructure, starting with public transportation. When I was chair of the budget committee overseeing that, we doubled the budget on public transportation. And that wasn't because of the Olympics, it's because we needed to do it. And I think that sort of thinking beforehand for the last several years has put us in this position to be able to say, now let's keep moving forward at a greater speed probably than what we were doing before. But we were already doing it, and that's what put us in this position.
Senator Durazo, do you see that different levels of government in California coming together in any different ways? We're sitting here in Los Angeles. You obviously sit in the legislature in Sacramento. You've got regional influence. I know that there's been a lot of coordination. There always is on the policy front. Is anything changing about the way you see the LA region and the state working together now? Is there new forms of coordination, or does there need to be?
Well, I guess I could give examples of the things that we're doing that came because of, it became an issue at the local level, and then we had to fix it at the state level, like the Coastal Act exemption, the CEQA exemptions, just to be able to function together as local and state to be able to make sure that things happen. We did that together. And we did it on a temporary basis just to make sure that it was done right. Like this is not that's not a permanent exemptions, but there are ways in which we're looking to make, working together as government, local and state government.
Senator Allen, do you have anything to add on how the different levels of government could coordinate in this big moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of why we wanted to have this committee, quite frankly, just to make sure that that we're just keeping these conversations going and keeping them fresh. That the people in the legislature that it's important to keep the legislature informed and engaged. It's not just the backstop. It's all even having a mechanism where they could call and say, hey, we need some flexibility on CEQA, for example, for some of these kind of temporary construction associated with the Olympics, or the HOV lanes that we want to let LA temporarily use as part of the games route networks that we're kind of building out for the games. So there's regulatory needs. There's massive CHP coordination on the law enforcement side. Caltrans, we have to act as a key go-between with the federal government. Secret Service does a lot of the national level security associated. So there's a whole security component to this that's going to substantially involve the state's infrastructure. And then, of course, the interplay with transportation again is massive. So. And then ensuring that there's continual state engagement with the federal government to get the kind of support that we need, on the governmental side. So part of our challenge, I suppose, is also making sure that our Northern California friends are excited about this and feeling engaged. There are going to be some Northern California venues, especially in soccer. I think is going to very likely to be up in Northern California. But one of the many challenges we have is making sure that they feel that this isn't just an LA thing, that this is something that's going to be to the benefit of the entire state. And so, the whole state government's based up in Northern California. Capitol's up there. Most of the staff are Giants fans.
That's the first hurdle.
Yeah, and I don't say that because it's a different world up there, and one of our many challenges is that we have to hop on planes, and most of the people making a lot of the decisions they're Northern Californians. It's not that there's not a lot of Southern Californians. Please come up if you want a job. Come on up. But but we do need. It's one of our challenges.
They need affordable housing.
Yeah, they need affordable housing. It's cheaper up there though. It's in Sacramento. But one of our challenges is making sure that LA's needs continue to be at the front burner. And María Elena actually is also, in addition to this role, is in the leadership of our, the co-chair, vice chair of our LA County delegation, which is our caucus of LA members up in Sacramento. And we're just constantly working to ensure that there is adequate support, financial and regulatory, for Los Angeles region in Sacramento.
And we're different, right? I mean, our needs are different, the size is different, the number of people. All of this leads to a very, very different environment altogether. And so the senator's right is how you make that clear and understood. And it's not just a LA versus Northern California, but it's really about the issues that we're trying to address.
It's about that legacy we keep talking about. It feels like it's really a moment not just for LA, but the state. Although it's pretty darn cool when you look out from that balcony and see LA on a clear day like this. You're like, God, this is a cool city. Like, you see the skyline and the mountains, and it's nice to remind yourself that there are mountains there. Some days we can't see them on smoggy days, right? So this is, I think, a moment to elevate overall. Now, we've been asking a lot of people on the panel, what are they personally committing to, and what are they going to bring to the table at the Olympics? I mean, I'm loath to even really ask that, because you've just listed so many things you're both working on, but I guess maybe I'll phrase it as, is there something you have a goal for yourself to deliver on as a leader to this state in this moment of leadership? Is there something that you personally want to see through and really own in this moment, despite the lot on your list?
Well, just for myself, in my career, it's been about working class people, families being able to support and sustain themselves, that every generation does better than the last generation, that our world is better off, generation after generation. And so one of those issues is about the kinds of jobs that we're creating, the careers that we're creating. And so I'm very committed to continue that work and make sure that these Olympics contribute to the well-being of everyone, in particular the economic well-being of everyone. There's economic dignity that we have to continue to build on. And so I pledge to continue to do that and bring that experience to the table.
Thank you. Senator Allen?
Yeah, just to build on what Senator Durazo was saying, I think this is such a special opportunity for our region. We know we have massive problems, including enormous poverty. And so how do we take advantage of this moment to address some of our, to at least help with some of our more systemic challenges? How do we leave a lasting legacy for the city, both infrastructurally and culturally? How do we, but also in terms of our long-term economic growth as a tourism center, as a place that people see truly as a capital of the world. So I guess I just see my role here as being trying to push push that broader agenda up in the state legislature, assisting with work down here, acting as a go-between, pushing for all of these things that we've been talking about: infrastructure for the kids, transportation, improving our transportation system. Making sure that 30 years from now, people look back at this as something that really helped put LA on the map, but also left infrastructure that makes the quality of life for everybody in our city so much better. And I think that's within reach, and I hope that that's something that we'll look back with great pride.
We've covered a lot of weighty topics, so just the kicker. Olympic sport you're most excited to see? Soccer? And?
I mean, I'm a soccer guy, though I'm really excited about the World Cup. So that, on the Olympic side, I don't know. You know what's so fun about the Olympics? It's those smaller sports that you don't get to see as much on TV that can be so...
Javelin.
And for those people who are javelin, curling, right, in the Winter Games, these folks, for those folks, you are watching they just toil for years at this one lesser known sport, and they are suddenly on the global stage for that one moment. And there's the drama and the excitement of that is so intoxicating. It's part of what I love about the Olympics.
Plus, we'll have flag football.
Yep.
I didn't even know that. Fantastic.
Men's and women's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a moment to thank our wonderful state leaders. Thank you so much.